Good evening. I'd like to call to order the City Council for Wheat Ridge, March 23rd, 2026. This is our regular meeting. If you are able, please rise and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Will the clerk please call the roll of the members?
Rachel Holteen.
Present.
Dan Larson.
Present.
Kathleen Martell.
Here.
Scott Ohm.
Here.
Mike Okada.
Here.
Patrick Quinn.
Present, Madam Clerk.
Thank you, sir. Jenny Snell.
Present.
Susan Wood.
Here. Here.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor, you have a quorum.
Thank you. Councilors, in your packet, we had minutes from February 23rd, notes from February 23rd, special study session notes from March 2nd, minutes from the 9th, and special study session notes from the 9th. Do we have any changes or notes on those? Mayor Pro Tem Holteen.
Yes, thank you. I discussed briefly with our clerk. Sorry, I have to get it just opened my computer. The city council meeting in which we appointed boards and commissions, the first and seconds for each of the district aren't labeled by the council member in the second. So I discussed it with her and we'll be following up with an email with those corrections.
Okay, thank you. Any other corrections or notes? Seeing none, we'll give that back to the clerk with our thanks. We'll go to approval of the agenda. Do we have any changes to tonight's agenda? Seeing none, I will go to the podium for a proclamation. If I could have Cassie Herdert from Donor Alliance join me, and Jane Dvorak from Transplant Games. Tonight we have a proclamation for National Donate Life Month. Whereas April 2026 marks the 23rd National Donate Life Month, a time to raise awareness of organ, eye, and tissue donation, encourage Americans to register as donors, and honor those who have saved and healed lives through the gift of donation. And whereas Colorado has been a leader in the nation with nearly 900,000, that's amazing, 900,000 Coloradans registered to be organ, eye, and tissue donors at the DMV, a decision that reflects deep commitment to one another and confirms that there is good in all of us. And whereas Donor Alliance, along with their community partners on the Colorado State team, educates residents in Colorado on the life-saving benefits of organ and tissue donation, inspires them to register as donors, and encourages them to share their decision with their family. And whereas one donor can save up to 8 lives through organ donation, restore sight in up to 2 people through cornea transplants, and save and heal more than 75 lives through tissue donation. And whereas in Colorado, heroic organ donors provided thousands of life-saving transplants, while others provided tissue donations that saved and healed more than 140,000 lives. And whereas the Denver Transplant Games will bring together the largest celebration of life, June 18th through the 23rd, 2026, to celebrate donors, recipients, families, and caregivers to educate and inspire others about organ donation, transplantation, and wellness. And whereas throughout the month of April, we honor the selfless donors who generously give life to others and celebrate the recipients who receive health and healing. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Corey Stites, and the City Council of Wheat Ridge, Colorado, do hereby proclaim the month of April 2026 as National Donate Life Month, in witness thereof this 23rd day of March 2026. Would you like to say a few words? All right.
Well, thank you so much, Mayor Stites and council members. It's an honor to be here as both a resident of the Wheat Ridge community and a family member of somebody who received that precious gift of life. On behalf of Donor Alliance, thank you for recognizing April as National Donate Life Month. We deeply appreciate your leadership and commitment to raising awareness about the life-saving impact of organ, eye, and tissue donation. Since 2003, Donor Alliance and communities across the nation have observed April as a time to honor the heroic donors and donor families who have said yes to donation. This generosity brings hope and healing to people across Colorado and Wyoming. It's also a month to encourage our community to register as donors. Today, more than 1,300 people in our community are waiting for that life-saving gift, and thousands more are in need of healing tissue. The need is great, but our state continues to rise to the challenge. I'm proud to share that Colorado has one of the highest rates of donor registry status in the nation. Our registry rate is currently 57%, over 57%, which is significantly higher than the national average of 44%. This speaks to the generosity of Colorado and Wheat Ridge residents and to the impact of community leaders such as yourselves. The tradition of the Donate Life flag began in hospitals, where it's flown to honor a donor at the time the gift of life is given. And each April, this tradition expands beyond hospitals. We're excited to highlight this meaningful work at Wheat Ridge High School this year, where my oldest will become a fourth-generation farmer with the upcoming school year. So we're very proud to be a part of this community. We invite you to join us on April 1st at 8 a.m. at Wheat Ridge High School. Hope to see you all there. Thank you again for this honor.
She is a lot taller than I am. I'm Jane Dvorak, and I am part of the host committee for the Transplant Games 2026, and they will be here in Denver for the very first time. We are excited that our city is going to be bringing in 10 to 12,000 individuals from 43 different teams, and that also includes a military team, to share and participate with donors, recipients, donor families, of which I and my husband are. We are also members of the Wheat Ridge community and Wheat Ridge farmers too. We don't have 4 generations though. And excited that we are able to showcase our state and our communities in a way that will allow people to understand the importance of organ donation and transplantation and what that can mean. It is life-changing, and we're excited that we're bringing the largest celebration of life to this community, to this state, and to this region. And to be able to be a part of that and have our local communities embrace all of those individuals who are going to come and see what an amazing community we have, but also what an amazing, inspiring community we have to also be an organ donor yourself. We are going with the theme of SWOCHE, which means see what others cannot envision. And we're hoping that we will help many, many thousands to envision that organ donation and transplantation is a way for us to make a big difference in our world and in our community here directly. So thank you so much for recognizing the Transplant Games and the work that we're doing this year.
Next up, we will go to our public's right to speak. Residents will have up to 3 minutes to speak about anything not on the agenda. When you come up, please spell your last name for the record. Let us know if you live or work in Wheat Ridge. There will be 3 lights on the clerk's desk there. The green light says you can go, you can speak as long as you want. It'll start blinking and it'll go to yellow. Yellow means you got about 30 seconds to wrap it up. And red means please wrap up your comments. We have one person signed up to speak tonight, and it is Megan Snow.
Hello, my name is Megan Snow, S-N-O-W, and I live at 7020 West 35th Avenue. I just wanted to say good evening, Mayor and members of City Council. Thank you so much for recognizing Donate Life Month in April. Organ and tissue donation has impacted my life in profound ways. In 1999, my father received a liver transplant after he was diagnosed with an autoimmune disease. That gift extended his life by 17 years and allowed him to share the milestones, family gatherings, and everyday moments that otherwise would not have been possible. When he passed away, he was able to donate his corneas, giving the gift of sight to someone in need. And then in 2017, my wife Jenny Snell, also city council member here in Wheat Ridge. Having seen the impact donation had on myself and my family, made the incredibly selfless decision to donate her kidney to a really good friend of ours. Today, our friend is healthy and thriving. It's a powerful example of how one decision can change another person's life forever. I appreciate the City of Wheat Ridge for recognizing Donate Life Month. Thank you.
Counselor Snell is pretty awesome. In fact, we'll go to Counselor Snell here for our first agenda item, our consent agenda. Will you please introduce this item?
Absolutely. Thank you, Mayor. This is resolution number 17-2026, a resolution amending the 2026 general fund budget to reflect the approval of a supplemental budget appropriation in the amount of $228,237 to accept a grant from the Colorado State Internet Portal Authority. That's part of it. That's 1A. And this is resolution number 18-2026, a resolution approving an intergovernmental agreement between the City of Wheat Ridge and the City of Lakewood providing for resurfacing of 26th Avenue between Wadsworth Boulevard and Pierce Street.
Thank you. This is our consent agenda. Counselor Snell, may I please have a motion on this item, those items?
Absolutely. I move to approve resolution number 17 and 18-2026, a resolution, wow, sorry,
You can just
I
consent
move to
1A and 1B.
approve 1A and 1B.
We have a second by Counselor Ohm. Will the clerk please poll the council?
All ayes, no nays, motion carries.
Excellent. We'll go on to agenda item number 2. Counselor Martell, will you please introduce this item?
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to introduce Council Bill Number 05-2026, an ordinance amending Chapter 26 of the Wheat Ridge Code of Laws supporting compliance with state legislation regarding housing supportive code amendments to remain eligible for state funding opportunities. At issue, the item under consideration is to amend Chapter 26 of the Wheat Ridge Code of Laws to update the review process for qualifying affordable house projects and to update accessory dwelling unit ADU setback requirements for some zone districts to ensure compliance with state regulations to remain eligible for state funding opportunities.
Thank you. This is an ordinance on second reading. It is a public hearing. It is not quasi-judicial. I will open the public hearing. Mr. Goff, do we have a staff presentation on this?
We do. Lauren Mikulak, our Community Development Director, is here this evening.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor and Council. I'll just add a couple of brief comments. This item really is intended as a cleanup to ensure that our code aligns with the original policy direction that we've received from Council over the last couple of years. In the case of ADUs, we believed that we were already compliant with the state law and we had differing interpretation from DOLA. So this change really just closes that small gap on the one setback. The other piece relates to administrative approvals. Those would be really used in very limited circumstances, as you saw in the memo, and only when a proposal already meets all of the zoning and development standards. We rarely require public hearings for something that is a use by right. It's somewhat unusual, so this change helps streamline the process while maintaining all of our underlying requirements and fulfilling the commitment that we have made to expedited review for qualifying affordable projects. Overall, we're viewing this really as minor and technical to help improve clarity and consistency in our alignment with the state laws that are, again, keeping us qualified for funding. Thanks.
Thank you. We would go to questions from the public. We had nobody signed up, so we'll go to questions from council. Seeing no questions, I will go ahead and close the public hearing and then ask for a motion. Councilor Martell.
Thank you, Mayor. I move to approve Council Bill Number 05-2026, an ordinance amending Chapter 26 of the Wheat Ridge Code of Laws supporting compliance with state legislation regarding housing supportive code amendments to remain eligible for state funding opportunities on second reading, order it published, and that it take effect 15 days after final publication as required by the charter.
Second.
We have a second by Mayor Pro Tem Multeen. Do we have discussion on the motion? Mayor Pro Tem Multeen.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to share a story about ADUs. I think when we were first talking about these policies, I realize this is a cleanup, but anytime ADUs come to the forefront, I think sometimes there's perceptions of what they are. And when we first tackled this policy in our city, we were also really striving to make sure that existing non-compliant ADUs would be able to be something that we could recognize through our ordinance. And I believe that we still have the window open for that through August of this year. And just yesterday, I was walking through my neighborhood, and my neighbors were one of the first to pull a permit to build a new ADU. And they were telling me that they have had it consistently rented out to traveling nurses at Lutheran, and that they have really high demand. I mean, it just turns over immediately, and they usually have 3 or 4 applicants that are there for 30 days to 4 months is the longest they've had. But then they were telling me the story of another neighbor who frequently raises concerns with me about the densification of our city, and we're just doing too much to densify it. And it turns out that neighbor also has a non-conforming ADU that was brought into compliance through this. However, this neighbor refuses to reconcile the fact that she also has an ADU. Anyway, ADUs are allowing my neighbors within a block of where I live to do multi-generational housing. The non-conforming ADU is actually housing a granddaughter. And then the other one is housing visiting nurses for our local hospital. So I just want to name that that policy is accomplishing what we set out to accomplish. And I'm glad we're able to clean up the technicalities to remain eligible for other funding that we're going through DOLA.
Any other discussion on the motion? Will the clerk please poll the council?
8 ayes, no nays, motion carries.
Thank you. We will go to agenda item number 3. Councilor Ohm, will you please introduce this item?
Thank you, Mayor. Council Bill number 06-2026, an ordinance approving the sale of city-owned real property and in connection therewith authorizing execution of a purchase and sale agreement. At issue, the purpose of this action is to request city council approval for the sale of approximately 0.31 acres of city-owned real property located at 3805 Wadsworth Boulevard to HCA Health One LLC for a purchase price of $422,500. Approval of this ordinance will also authorize the execution of purchase and sale agreement and associated closing documents.
That's good. Thank you. This is a public hearing. This is an ordinance on second reading. It is not quasi judicial. I will open the public hearing. And Mr. Goff, do we have a presentation?
We do, a short one. Thank you, Mayor. So tonight we're asking council to approve the sale of city-owned a remnant parcel at 3805 Wadsworth Boulevard. That's the former Midas property at the northwest corner of 38th and Wadsworth. And the execution of a purchase and sale agreement with HCA Health One LLC. We do have representatives from HCA Health One in the audience. They will not have a presentation this evening, but if you have any questions for them, they are available. This 0.31 acre parcel was originally purchased in 2020 for the Improved Wadsworth project. It now is identified as excess property. The original parcel was almost twice the size of what is being sold today, as much of the property was used for the right-of-way that was required for the Wadsworth Improvement Project. Under the city charter, selling real property requires approval by 3/4 of the full council through ordinance. The negotiated purchase price is $422,000 and $500, which will be received as a one-time revenue. The city will cover title-related costs and half of the escrow fee, while the buyer covers the survey, platting, and subdivision costs. HCA Health One's purchase is part of a broader redevelopment strategy in the area for the development of a health park at that corner. Their obligation to close is contingent on securing agreements with 2 other properties at this site as well. Property will be sold as is, where is, consistent with the terms of the purchase sale agreement. So if you have any questions, happy to answer those.
Thank you. Do you have any questions from council? Councilor Larson.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. And I wonder, since we do have the party HC1 folks here, would you mind just give us like a 2-minute sort of what the plan is? I know we went through all this when we approved the freestanding emergency room ordinance last year. memories fade, and I wonder if we could just get maybe a real quick sort of, okay, here's what the plan is. If everything goes well, if you could tell us what the plan is for that corner. Step up here, please.
And introduce yourself for the record, please.
Happy to. Can you guys hear me? Awesome. Casey Goober, I'm the CEO of Rose Medical Center, which is part of HCA. We're kind of by the Cherry Creek area. We've been working on this project for a while. I think it's been about a year and a half. Infill land assemblies take a little bit of time, and really our plan is to create a destination health park for the city of Wheat Ridge and the surrounding communities. We've identified this area based on traffic patterns, based on preventing noise in neighborhoods. And the plan is to essentially build a 14,000 square foot freestanding emergency department that is going to go long ways up Wadsworth. We're going to acquire the Reese's Dental Building, the Midas property, and then essentially the 4.5 acres of the Wilmore Shopping Center. The plan is to convert the Wilmore Shopping Center into 2 medical office buildings. We're still not sure if we're going to use the existing infrastructure long-term or demolish that to build a new medical office building to start. We're for sure going to use the existing infrastructure, which already houses a bunch of medical tenants as well. And then we've been in the process of recruiting other subspecialties to be present and add value to your community.
That's great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Any other questions from council? Mayor Pro Tem Hulty.
Thank you. Can you just provide an update of the status of negotiation of the other properties?
Yeah, we're in final red lines with all of them. Yep.
Any
It's
other
a big
questions?
project. It's been an interesting navigation.
All right. Seeing no other questions, I will go ahead and close the public hearing. Thank you, Mr. Goober. And then I will ask for a motion. Councilor Ohm.
Thank you, Mayor. I move to approve Council Bill number 06-2026, an ordinance approving the sale of city-owned real property and in connection therewith authorizing execution of a purchase and sale agreement, and that it takes 15 days after final publication as required by the charter.
I have a second by Councilor Snell. Do we have any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, will the clerk please poll the council?
8 ayes, no nays, motion carries.
Great. We will move on to agenda item number 4. Mayor Pro Tem Hulteen, will you please introduce this item?
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to introduce Council Bill number 7, 2026, an ordinance amending the Wheat Ridge Municipal Code concerning animal welfare and regulations for the same. At issue, several sections of the city's animal code are outdated, inconsistent, confusing, and do not reflect current needs or practices. As such, staff propose several amendments to the Wheat Ridge Animal and Land Use Code for the City Council's consideration.
Thank you. This is an item on first reading to set the day and time for a public hearing. Mayor Pro Tem Hulteen, will you please give us a motion?
I move to approve Council Bill number 7, 2026, an ordinance amending the Wheat Ridge Code of Laws concerning animal welfare and regulations for the same, order it published public hearing set for Monday, April 13th, 2026 at 6:30 p.m. as a virtual meeting and in City Council chambers, 7500 West 29th Avenue, and that it takes effect 15 days after a final publication as provided by Section 511 of the Charter.
I have a second by Councilor Ohm. Will the clerk please poll the council?
8 ayes, no nays, motion carries.
Thank you. Moving on to agenda item number 5. Councilor Larson, will you please introduce this item?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. This is Council Bill number 08-2026, an ordinance amending Chapter 13 of the Wheat Ridge Code of Laws concerning vehicles and traffic by adding a new section 13-7 concerning the violation of vehicle registration requirements to allow for the citation of vehicle registration violations into municipal court. At issue, Colorado House Bill 25-1112 empowers local authorities in Colorado to enforce vehicle registration laws, enabling them to issue penalties for unregistered vehicles within their jurisdictions. This ordinance is modeled to incorporate elements of the new law for enforcement within the city.
Thank you. This is an item on first reading to set the date and time and location for a public hearing. Councilor Larson, will you please give us a motion?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I move to approve Council Bill number 08-2026, an ordinance amending Chapter 13 of the Wheat Ridge Code of Laws concerning vehicles and traffic by adding a new section 13-7 concerning the violation of vehicle registration requirements to allow for the citation of vehicle registration violations into municipal court. Ordered, published, public hearing set for Monday, April 13th, 2026 at 6:30 p.m. as a virtual meeting and in City Council chambers, 7500 West 29th Avenue, and that it takes effect upon adoption as provided by Section 5.11 of the Charter.
Second.
I have a second by Councilor Wood. Will the clerk please poll the council?
8 ayes, no nays, motion carries.
Thank you. We will go to our next agenda item, which is City Manager's Matters.
Thank you, Mayor. I don't have anything else this evening, but the city attorney did want me to let you know he is available on Zoom. He had an emergency at home. He couldn't make it down, but he is on Zoom if you need him.
Okay. I imagine he probably doesn't have a presentation then. Okay. All right, so we'll go to elected officials matters, and we will start with Councilor Okada.
Thank you, Mayor. Just wanted to point out I was one of the lucky recipients of the city survey. And since my birthday was on the 26th, I got a chance to fill it out. I think it says something like 21 to 25 minutes, which is oddly specific. And so I was expecting it to be 21 to 25 minutes. And for me, it was actually 17. So I do highly encourage residents who receive that survey to take it and get that feedback, which is really important. It's one of the many ways that we as council members get feedback from our community to be able to understand better how to represent everybody out there. Since I'm first, I also get to say I had a great time in Washington, D.C., getting a chance at the National League of Cities conference to learn from other cities about what's working for them, what's not working for them. Getting to brag a little bit about Wheat Ridge is a lot of fun there. It's nice to every now and then have a problem. It's like, well, we solved that at least to some degree. So that was really nice. And then also hearing from them their solutions. It was very great. It was also very humbling to be in our nation's capital. There's a lot of things going on, but the monuments are all the same, and that was a very enjoyable part of reminding myself and all the visitors to Washington, D.C. about what's important for us as Americans. We also got a chance to have meetings with Rep. Peterson, Senator Hickenlooper, and Senator Bennett. Those were very productive meetings and very helpful. I also do want to mention that I've talked with a couple other council members about what we had on first reading, the Council Bill 07-2026. I want to make sure that the rest of council knows, but also that people who are watching and listening know that that a couple of council members, including myself, have identified a potential need for amendment to the amendments that are in that. So we're taking a look at that, but we'll make sure to be communicative in what we hear about from city staff on that regard, and also what needs to change in the language that's existing in there to protect our businesses that we have in our city. That's it for me.
Thank you. Councilor Larson.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. And first off, and I want to get this on the record, I'm requesting a study session agenda item concerning a request from the Wheat Ridge Historical Society on a fairly serious issue they're facing going into the new year. I understand that I do have somebody that will second this for me.
I will. Okay.
Thank you, Council Member Okada. This last week was fairly busy. I did get a chance to testify on House Bill 1071 with Chief Murtha on Thursday. That was a lot of fun watching how this the sausage gets made. I believe the support in the Senate will carry forward. It passed out of the committee 6-2, so it is moving ahead. And as you recall, this is one of the bills that the Legislative Affairs Committee said that we will support and bring forward. I wanted to make a note that I noticed on social media that we continue to see complaints about traffic light timing, where especially left turns on, for example, 44th onto Kipling, the left turn arrows are way too short. And so requesting that our traffic management folks have a look at the timing of the traffic lights and the timing of the signals. The other thing that I wanted to bring up was that, being St. Patrick's Day last week, I had the opportunity to see sort of either end of the adult demographic in Wheat Ridge. I was at Clancy's on Tuesday night for their St. Patrick's Day, and being one of the oldest people there, I felt that I would skip the beer for the night and just try some of the food, and it was very good. And then on Friday, I was lucky enough to attend the Active Adult Center event, St. Patrick's Day event, with some wonderful food, some interesting entertainment. A person was up playing bagpipes. I'm not a big fan of bagpipes, but they did okay. And then told stories, Irish stories from back in the day, back in the old country. So it was a very interesting week, very busy. If you recall, the weather was very nice, and I think we are going to continue with the good weather for a while. And March Madness is here. Hope everybody's filled out their brackets and you're doing well. Thanks.
Or you're already busted out and you're done. Councilor Wood.
Tonight, I'd just like to add to what Council Member Okada stated, and that is that several of us were fortunate enough to attend the National League of Cities Conference in Washington, D.C. last week, and it was a great experience. And the things that Councilmember Okada has talked about, I'll only add to that a little bit, and that is that it emphasized for me how important federal legislation is and what goes on at the federal level is to local government and to our city of Wheat Ridge. So as was noted previously, we did have that opportunity to talk to our representatives and our senators, and I do think it was productive and a wonderful thing. And then maybe more than anything, though, it really emphasized for me the role of local government and how everything above it, everything that happens above local government at the federal level and the state level all comes to roost at the local level. And it's where people feel the impact, people feel the benefits. And it's wonderful to be with like-minded individuals who are working in their own communities with that same way of looking at things. It was a great experience and very much a learning experience for me. So I was grateful for the opportunity to be there.
Thank you. Councilor Quinn.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. I can't say it any better than Councilor Wood about going to Washington, D.C. and being a part of the NLC event. Had some very good speakers, some very good panels the 2 days that we were there, and I learned a bunch. I can't agree anymore on how important those things are, same as Susan had said. I do want to take 2 seconds and recognize Councilor Snell. I had no idea what you did. You gave a life-saving gift to an individual, and that just says a whole lot about you. And I can't top that. I think that's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Councilor Martell.
Thank you, Mayor. Again, I'd like to echo my peers that were also able to attend the conference in DC. I was with that group. And the one thing I'd like to add is I think the overriding theme of the conference was that local governments deliver. And I really tried to keep that message with me as we come back here and come back to the dais and come back to our agendas and our projects and really think about how, as local members of this community, we really deliver for each other. And so again, thank you to the city for the opportunity to participate in that. I do have a couple updates. I'm really looking forward to April 1st here in Wheat Ridge, and not because of any pranks that I'm not planning or anyone else might be planning, but we have 2 big things in the community on April 1st. The first one is the Clear Creek Makerspace has its 2nd birthday celebration at the Makerspace. And then also the April 1st is opening day for Happiness Gardens Community Garden. And I know that Mayor Pro Tem Holteen is a huge advocate for Happiness Gardens, but you'll be hearing about it double this season from both of us. And I'm just very excited to be a part of it again this year. Is it okay to ask questions at this time? I was wondering, Councilmember Larson, if you could tell us what the issue with the Historic Society is, Or is this a time we should address that or wait for the study session?
I think he's got a second for the study session, so the Mayor Pro Tem and City Manager will get it on.
We'll get it. Okay, perfect. I wasn't sure if we could get a heads up now or not. Okay, that's all I got. Thank you.
And,
you okay with the question?
yes, I'm happy to discuss this. It's a fairly long request they're making, and, but it is fairly dire. They're facing some serious issues, so, yes. But any time during the week, yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yes,
Councilor
thank you.
Snell.
Thank you, Mayor. Well, I'll just also give my 2 cents about our trip to Washington, D.C. On this, I really want to just take a moment to commend the voters of Wheat Ridge, because the council that you have selected in front of you is an amazing group of people who care, who are very empathetic, who are kind, and who have our community at the very forefront of everything that they do. Every interaction that I've had, and I was so lucky to get to spend time just talking and getting to know my fellow counselors. And I'm a firm believer in this council, and I know that there's so much good here, and there's so much love and concern for Wheat Ridge and for the residents here. And so I just want to commend the voters for actually putting this council here. So I also think it is an incredible experience to get to go and connect with counselors from other cities. Sometimes it's really nice to know that other folks are seeing some of the same things, so that we can share ideas. But yeah, great time and excellent learning opportunity for me. I do want to mention that April 7th it's time for District 1 office hours again, and we're moving locations to Ann's Pie Cafe, which is on 29th next to Wheat Ridge Meats. So Councilor Martell and I will be there from 9 to 11 a.m. Please feel free to join us for any or all of that time, just to ask questions, bring concerns, enjoy some pie and coffee, smoothies, whatever you got, whatever you'd like. They have a great little location, and we will be there. That's our location for the next quarter. And just to end on a note about our proclamation earlier this evening for Donate Life Month, it's something that, as you learned, is very close to my heart and my family's heart. And there is an event also that happens in July every year that is, it's called the Donor Dash, and it's one of the biggest 5K run walks around, and it happens every July. My family and I have a team every year, and I am right now inviting all of you to join us. If you want, reach out. I'll gladly give you more information, but it's a great time, and it's one of the biggest events to highlight organ and tissue donation. That's all I got. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Ohm.
Thank you, Mayor. Sounds like a great time by all was had in DC. The one thing I want to get serious about is water. For the first time, I've been living here for about 20 years, and you know, usually I've seen some pretty bad years, and Denver Water will say, you know, we need to cut back on water around May 1st, and this year they said March 25th that they're going to go into stage 1 restriction. And so I would encourage everybody, you know, water your trees, try to hold back on the grass. Personally, I'm kind of done with my Kentucky bluegrass. I'll be ripping out some patches of some grass and reseeding those with something that's more drought tolerant. And so I would just really, you know, really tell everybody in the city, like, please do not water during the day. You know, try to conserve the water. On a happier note, we are getting on the edge of redbud season. And for those that don't know what redbuds are, they have these amazing reddish colored blooms on it. When I go on my walks down 41st and drift over to District 4, it's amazing. There's some really old redbud trees all around, you know, District 2 and District 4. Usually I see them a little closer to tax time, but they're budding right now, and it's going to be amazing. So thank you.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Holteen.
Thank you. I actually have a red bud in my backyard that I got through the Wheat Ridge tree sail, and I can confirm it is budding and beautiful. And I'm glad I actually did deep watering of my trees this weekend. If I'm going to use water, it's for my newer trees. A couple things I want to recognize Councilmember Snell again, just for showing up as a good human in a world that needs good humans. And my mom was on a waiting list for a kidney donation, and unfortunately did not receive that donation in time. But I know that those are important and life-saving activities. I want to just bring up a couple of things. Stevens Elementary has been in touch with me and in turn with some of senior city staff that there have been some near misses on 38th Avenue of students crossing the street in the crosswalk. Some of it is just sun glare that makes it really hard in the morning during commutes to see, but it's incumbent on all of us to travel safely on our corridors, and in particular to have increased awareness around our schools and our parks. We really want to encourage kids and people of all ages to feel safe and comfortable getting around on foot and on bike in our community. And we're taking strides and efforts to make that more accessible and feel safer, but it's incumbent on drivers to also have increased awareness. A lot of times with the design of SUVs and large trucks, children are not visible if they are actually within a really dangerous proximity of the car. So please drive slowly, respect the speed limit, especially if it's a school speed limit. And then I just want to speak to DC also. It was absolute delight. It's always delight to spend time with my colleagues. We have a really outstanding group of people up here. But to be together in our nation's capital, you know, learning and advocating for our city is like just kind of fun to get out of the context. As Councilmember Martell said, you know, cities deliver was, local governments deliver was a theme, but I would say that having gone now for several years, the really dominant theme this year was civility. And in many of the big sessions and in a lot of the breakouts, they were really addressing the need to make civility not just something you hope happens, but something that's a practice you'd lead with and set clear expectations and parameters around what civil and civic behavior looks like. And so it's a conversation that Mayor Stites and I have started, and really want to make sure that we are holding those expectations here. I think we do well. You know, we've had our moments historically in the city, but maintaining civility is really at the forefront of ensuring that local voices and people can be heard. So that was one of my big takeaways. Defending our democracy is another theme that was really strong. And then the last thing, that my personal favorite thing every time we go to DC, are all the youth counselors who are there. They actually have a side conference for youth councils that come from their jurisdictions from across the country. And it's really a delight to get to engage with them, find out what inspired them to want to, you know, get involved in some sort of civic youth council. Everyone's a little different. I'm a little bit on the annoying side because I will chase them down and talk to them and ask them all these questions. And they speak with so much passion and clarity for local government and for their voices to be heard. And it is a priority of mine while I'm still in council to carry forward the idea of getting that started here. So again, Mayor Stites and I have talked about that, and it's something that we're going to be taking meaningful next steps on, because we really want to hear what our youth think, what's important to them. Their voices are really important. They oftentimes bring fresh and innovative perspectives and a lot of passion. And the city needs to make sure we're including our youth as we move forward. So that's what I brought home from DC, and a lot of laundry. So thank you.
I did too. A lot of laundry. I don't know how I got so dirty. Just on that note, I'm actually going to Everett Middle School. I'm there once a week, but I'll be there on the 1st to speak to one of their civics classes. They're very interested in what's going on in the world and how they can be a part of it. So I'm looking forward to that. That'll be on April 1st as well. I wanted to, I believe it's been a week or so, we had the active transportation state of the city right after our last meeting. That was a great event. Colorado Plus did an amazing job hosting that. Councilor Snell and Mayor Pro Tem Holteen did a great job speaking, as did Director Mikulak and Director Kisselman as well, I believe. But great turnout, fantastic night, and we have a lot of wins to celebrate, I think, and a lot of great things going on in the city for our active transportation people. and we do need to work on what's going on around Stevens, it sounds like. One of the last things I did in Colorado before I jumped on a plane to DC was go to Coffee with the Mayor on Saturday the 23rd. Great turnout, great conversation. The Active Adult Center did an amazing job hosting that for us. They had a great spread and did a phenomenal job. So want to thank them specifically and everybody over there. Melissa and Paula and everybody who helped put that together. Our next Coffee with the Mayor will not be in April. We have a council retreat that day, so I believe it'll be May 9th, and I believe it's at the new Starbucks on 38th and Wadsworth, so excited to do that. I also want to thank Congresswoman Pedersen, who joined several of us for lunch before DC, and then not only set up a happy hour, but met with us on the Hill as well. But she has been very generous with her time and hearing about what's challenging and what's working here in Wheat Ridge, and taking that with her to DC, but also our funding requests and different things like that. So we really appreciate Congresswoman Pedersen for spending a lot of time with us and really getting to know what Wheat Ridge. She had some really great questions about even the history of Wheat Ridge that I was really impressed with the other day. And on a note, Mayor Pro Tem brought up the Youth Council. They had some of the best questions for our senators in our breakfast session with them as well. They had some phenomenal questions, so I'm looking forward to getting our youth a little bit more engaged here in Wheat Ridge and seeing what they can do to bring forward with us. I believe we have no study session next week. It's a fifth Monday, so we'll be off next week. We do have a special study session tonight, so we will go ahead and adjourn, and we will go ahead and start right now for that special study session.
Great, thank you, Mayor. I'll get staff up here. I think you have a presentation, correct? So we'll get that rolling. The item tonight is a discussion about our urban tree canopy. This was on our future agenda list for quite some time. Previous council member, Amanda Weaver, asked to have a study session on this, so hopefully, Amanda Weaver, you're watching. If not, we'll get you the presentation. But we're all very proud of our trees and our tree canopy in Wheat Ridge. City of Wheat Ridge is a tree city USA for many, many years. And so we just kind of want to give you a very general overview of about our tree canopy, what we're doing to save it, kind of what some of the current issues are with the trees, and go from there. Karen, you going to start it? As soon as Karen has this pulled up, Karen O'Donnell, our Parks and Rec Director. Yeah, I'll get it.
Where did Jim go? Huh? Okay. My presenter just left. I will tell jokes. I'm just kidding. Hi, I'm Karen O'Donnell, the Director of Parks and Recreation, and Patrick did a nice intro for us, but Jim Romelt, who's our Forestry and Open Space Supervisor, is going to be presenting this information this evening and answering any questions that you might have. He is a certified arborist, among other things. Come up here, Jim. Or you can sit there. That's fine.
Appreciate you letting me sit down. Great. Like Karen said, my name's Jim Romelt. I am the forestry supervisor for the city. I got about 15 years of experience in arboriculture, a bachelor's degree in forestry, track certified arborist, as well as an ISA certified arborist. So today I just want to talk to you a little bit about our urban tree canopy here in Wheat Ridge. So, start.
Not your fault. It's on.
Great.
Okay, there we go. Thank you.
Thank you. Sweet. All right. So I'm sure you guys have heard this before, but urban trees are a big deal. They provide numerous benefits for us, right? So reduce the urban heat island effect. They improve the air quality, reduce stormwater runoff, increase property values, and improve community health and livability. I mean, there's science out there that proves healing is faster in hospitals when you can see out a window and see a tree. And I love this quote here: urban trees are critical infrastructure, just like streets, water systems, and parks. Wheat Ridge, proud Tree City USA, 48 years as of 2025. What this entails from the city, a tree board, which consists of myself, Karen, and Benny, community tree ordinance, which we have, meaning we take care of the trees in the parks, the right-of-way, and the open spaces. Citizens are responsible for the trees in the private property. We need to spend a minimum of $2 per capita on forestry expenditures. I believe this past year when I filled the application, it was around $12 per capita, which is pretty awesome. And then we celebrate Arbor Day every year with an annual event, and I'll get to that more later. Well, what you're looking here is what I use, our tree inventory system, which is Tree Plotter. All those spots on there are trees in the right-of-way in parks. That's not the whole city, but it's just a little glimpse. And we have 19% average canopy coverage in the city, which is great. The Denver Metro averages about 20. You go more north to Thornton, they're probably lower than that. Down south, a little lower than that. Lakewood, Arvada, we're right on the block there. This is great. I can see individual census blocks in the city. As of 2021, the data is a little old. We'll be updating that this year. The lowest was 2%, which sounds terrible, but that's the new Clear Creek Crossing development. We use a wide open field for the longest time. I think there's hundreds of new trees in there, so that's bound to go up. Highest 33%, which is great. The city manages 8,391 trees. That's parks and right-of-way. And the green belt and open spaces are not inventoried. The reason for that is people are not supposed to be going off the trail there. It's a lot of management needs, a lot of money that would be spent on unnecessary. It's a natural setting. We try to leave it that way. This 30-20-10 rule, it's a rule in arboriculture for stands of trees in city forests, which is no tree in the family should have 30%, the genus 20%, and 10% of species. And I'll get to that more in the next slide here. So these couple of graphs, just our distribution of canopy. On the left is the size distribution of our city-managed trees. That's of those 8,000 trees that we manage. All the purple bars are the thresholds we're looking to meet. We're well within that. I believe you're looking at 0 to 6 inches. It says we're a little bit low. I think with the planting in the last couple of years, that number is bound to go up. And a little bit more on that 30-20-10 rule you can see on that right graph. So doing great in the family, way under the 30%, way under in the genus as well. You'll notice the far left, we hit a 11 to 12% in one of the species. I want to note that. That's nothing that we planted. That's Siberian elm. Everyone's favorite tree that grows along every alleyway, every fence line. People tend to just forget about it. So that to me is not a great big deal at all. People, they get a bad rap, right? Trees are great no matter what. A large Siberian elm is providing numerous benefits. So, they get a bad rap. People want to remove them. They're nasty looking trees, but they still provide all those benefits that any other species would give you. So I just wanted to note that that's really not a big deal because we are not planting those actively. The good stuff here. Some of the common issues our team faces every day, and frankly, homeowners in the Denver Metro as well, Wheat Ridge. Pests, the big one, EAB, emerald ash borer, officially on the map with the Colorado State Forest Service last year, city of Wheat Ridge. We found it last year. I'm sure it's been around for at least 10 years. We don't get to go into everyone's backyard and see what's going on. So now, again, we are on the note. We treat over 600 trees, I shouldn't say that, around 500 trees every year in the public right-of-way and parks for emerald ash borer for that reason. We've been expecting it for a long time. We're doing what we can. Ips beetle, another big issue with spruces and pines. We actively treat probably around 90 to 100 of those every year. Something to note on that too, Crown Hill Cemetery for about 5 years ago lost irrigation. It was terrible. Massive spruce trees. I'm sure you guys have seen them. Pests that are attracted to stressed trees. That is about the epicenter of the city for that pest. You can see and trace it actually the past couple of years, that pest moving out from that epicenter there. So that's something to note as well. And then some diseases, blights, fruiting trees. Everyone here, fire blight, pretty common. Thyroid tree canker, honey locust, 38th Avenue. I treat all those trees. It oozes. It's a gross, nasty fungus that thrives in hot, dry weather. It's counterintuitive, but it's a terrible thing all over all over the Front Range, I should say. It's really not isolated anywhere, and it's killing a lot of the mature locust trees that you see. As well as Cytospora canker, which affects spruce. These are all probably the top 6 things that we deal with management-wise for trees. Right-of-way issues is we have a mature canopy, especially what I call Old Town. Trees that are 80 to 100 years old, massive silver maples, elms, lindens as well. You know, the cost of maintenance on these extreme. The time concern, the dangers of these are huge. Salts in the right of way, right? So winter, not a big deal this year, but every year mag chloride goes on. Folks salt the crap out of their sidewalks. Trees don't like an overabundance of salt. So also drought stress, you guys touched on that a little bit earlier, I was listening. This year is going to be extra bad. So I think what you'll see from the city staff is a lot more consistent watering in the parks and right-of-ways. So I encourage you all to, as Rachel said, deep water your trees. That's great. So thank you for that. And then just overall maintenance. The aging canopy equals more maintenance, like I said, and the establishment of the new trees. You know, everyone loves to plant trees, but they don't like to take care of it afterwards, and that's just a big issue. So these are some numbers, the management numbers from last year. 396 trees planted. That includes capital projects like the Wadsworth project, the Green on 38th project, things like that. 206 trees were pruned. That's not simply going and cutting one dress. That's a full prune on a tree, which can take half a day if it's a mature tree. 25 trees removed, which is a great number. That's pretty low. And then 450 trees treated for IPSPL and EAB. So my team is really out there doing what they're doing, which is great. Just some programs that the Parks Department offers in relation to forestry. The Hazardous Tree Grant. So what this is folks can apply. I'll go out and inspect their tree, and if I deem it a hazard, the city will reimburse them. This can be for removal, this can be for pruning, or this can be for treatments for insects and diseases like that. Last year we had 57 applicants, 35 were awarded, totaling a little bit over $32,000. Again, they must use an approved contractor by the city. That's someone who has their business license and their arborist license in the city. We have an annual tree sale where last year we sold 90 trees. It's about 80 to 90 on average. We've been doing it for 4 years now. If you guys are interested, April 18th at Anderson Park from 9 to 12 p.m., 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. And then we have a branch drop. You know, those winter storms, those spring storms, we always get asked to do this, so we figure might as well do it annually. Last year we generated 30 yards of mulch that goes to that free mulch pile for citizens as well as use in the parks. You know, we offer memorial tree plantings and then the tree steward program, which is volunteers, which is great. I already have 6 signed up this year. They can come and help us water new trees, take care of them, mulch them. If there's just visually inspect them. You know, I have 3 staff members under me. They cannot see 8,000 trees in a week, right? So the more folks we have out there helping to grow these trees, water them, and just inspect them and let us know if there's a glaring issue is a big help to us. And this is huge. 2023, we applied for a grant from the USDA. I'm sure you guys have all heard about this. 2024, we were awarded just under $700,000 for urban forestry efforts in the city of Wheat Ridge. This was paused in 2025 for the federal termination in Court Injunction. It is still up and running as of now through 2028. In 2025, when that federal grant was paused, we were awarded almost $400,000 from the State Forest Service, which was a pass-through from the feds as well. And this has funded tons of stuff. Trees, like I said, for the capital projects, parks and open space trees, is that tree inventory software that I use daily for management and upkeep of trees. We paid for 3 years of that. Mile High Youth Corps work, which include planting as well as fuels reduction on the Greenbelt. Parks forestry, tools, maintenance supplies, volunteer event supplies, and then staff timing as well. Just a quick, something, I started in the city in 2020. I started as the arborist for the city. We did not have a lot of equipment at that time. I was climbing trees. I was the only one that knew how to climb trees in the city. It was pretty slow. You know, I could maybe do 3 to 4 trees a week when you're talking to mature trees. In 2021, we added a bucket truck with 65-foot working boom, stump grinder, and mini skid steer. That vastly improved our production, improved our capabilities, and just the ease of work. You know, the team is really like it, and it's got a lot of hours on it now. And I know Karen rides it in the parade and everything, so that's great. So again, just the implication, we've reduced our initial contractor budget by purchasing that truck by $200,000 annual. I still have a $45,000 a year budget for contractor work. This is big cottonwood stuff that's way too dangerous or would take way too long for my city crew to do. We still pay for them to do that. And then we just, again, increased a lot of capabilities with this. This is our team. Dave's the forestry technician. He's directly under me. Jared and Ray are the forestry assistants. Dave has a lot of experience in the plant healthcare world, private contractor for a long while. And Jared and Ray are kind of new to the business, but doing great. So just if you ever see him, give him a shout. That'd be great. And just a little props to our Arbor Day event. Yeah, every year to fulfill that need for the Tree City USA, we plant around 30 to 50 trees, usually in parks and open space, provide education for the community. And then there's an emphasis on environmental care and stewardship of these plants. Partners in the past have been the Rotary Club, schools, and the Crown Hill Open Space. And just to shout out again, 2026, if you guys are interested in coming, it's going to be east of Bass Lake. We'll be meeting at Prospect Park, I believe, at 8 a.m. I'd love to see you guys there. I really appreciate you, and if you have any questions, fire them away.
Thank you.
Yep.
Do you have any questions?
Only if they really wanted to see it, yeah.
Councilor Martell.
Thank you for a great presentation. Can you tell us more about the Tree Memorial Program?
Sure. So I don't want to get my wording wrong here, but it's a combination with the Wheat Ridge Memorial Society, Memorial Foundation. They will provide up to $125. The citizen who requests the tree will pay for the rest. I often provide guidance in the species and what they want to plant. And where do they want to plant? Do they want to plant in a park? Do they want an open space? I'll give them guidance in that tree. So it's all about the right tree in the right place, and we want to see these things survive. It's a simple application process. I think last year we had 15. I've seen since I've been here probably 5 to 15 on average per year. And again, you can just apply online. It's right there in the Rooted in Fun website, if you can navigate that. And you just go through me. And again, I have to approve the species. I often kind of give them guidance, say, I think this would do well here, and go from there.
Does it include a placard or?
No, so
a
we
notice?
used to do that, but there was a lot of maintenance issues with the mow crew hitting them. They're getting buried. There was a list way before I started from the early 2000s when they had placards, and as we were planting new trees or stump grinding or removing trees, we'd hit these old placards that had no inventory. So now we inventory where all these trees are, we map where all those trees are, and there's a going list. But no, that does not include a placard. No.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Councilor Ohm.
Thank you for the presentation.
Sure.
So a couple questions are, I've seen a lot of, spruce trees definitely have a lot of insect issues.
Yeah.
The other issue that I see a lot in Wheat Ridge is wind.
Certainly.
They tend to blow over in the high winds. I don't know if you've noticed that, but there was probably 7 or 8 at Wilmer Davis a few years ago, knocked out power to residents.
Yep. So I'm sorry to interrupt you, but especially with spruce trees, they're very shallow rooted. Everyone thinks there's a big taproot on a tree. That's not the case at all. Colorado blue spruce is native to the Rocky Mountains, right? There's not a lot of deep soil up there. These roots grow out shallow, probably within 2 feet of the soil surface. That's why you're going to see a lot of wind throw there. And again, going back to that mature canopy in the right-of-way, and especially in people's homes too, big branches are going to fall out of large mature trees. Silver maples were overplanted in the 50s. They're a beautiful tree in the right place. When it's 40-inch diameter and 100 feet tall in the right-of-way or behind your house, they're notoriously weak-wooded and they rot easily, and we see that all over the city. So, again, the proper pruning, education going out there to homeowners, and just us doing our due diligence is pretty much how we combat that.
Yes, I had a silver maple and it rotted and had to take that out.
Yeah.
Another one question I had too was, is there anything in the city right now, either educating about the Tree of Heaven? I know our neighbor Mountain View has kind of they've made it clear that they do not want that Tree of Heaven anywhere in the city, and so they're trying hard to eradicate it. What is the city of Wheat Ridge doing?
Yeah, so again, it's on the state do not plant list. What we do, we remove them from parks. Often they're suckers. If you apply as a homeowner for that hazardous tree grant and it's a perfectly living Ailanthus, I will approve that as well because it is considered a noxious tree. Again, you're talking to an arborist. I'm not in the business of cutting trees down. I am, but I don't promote that. I'd rather see them grow. If there's an Ailanthus tree in the backyard that's not going to impact anything, it's providing numerous benefits for that homeowner as well. Yes, will it attract insects? So will every other tree. But yes, we do not actively plant them. We remove them in the right of ways and in the parks. And if someone does apply for the hazardous tree grant, we can remove it.
And my last comment is a really big thank you to the Mile High Youth Corps. When I travel on the bike on the Clear Creek pathway, they've done a tremendous job of just cleaning up a lot of that little stuff so you can actually see the creek. I just think it helps with kind of a passive surveillance. Everybody can see everything, and they just really seem to enjoy the creek a lot more. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Larson.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. My question is on the grants. Are they only available for private homeowners?
No, so if you're a business owner, you can apply for it as well.
Okay.
If you're a short-term rental, you can apply as well. I believe it was started with the intent for homeowners, but has expanded from there. Definitely.
Well, I'm thinking of common interest communities, HOAs.
Yeah, for sure. And again, there is limitations to that. We do one tree per property per year, but you can apply every year annually after that.
Okay.
Yep.
Our little community has about 200 some trees on basically a 2-block area.
Yeah.
And a good percentage of them have every one of those things you list: the pests, the disease, the canker.
I believe it.
All of those things, and it has become a sort of a, well, more than just a small part of our operating budget. It's
Certainly.
expensive.
Well, I encourage you to apply. I can always give you the tour and give you my thoughts on what would be the best money spent for that. I'm happy to do that for you. And again, one tree at a time is better than no trees at a time. And
Well, yes, exactly. We've treated as many as we can afford to at once.
Sure.
And the results are there.
Great.
On the maple trees were treated one season, and they came around.
Fantastic.
Okay, I will take you up on that.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Councilor Quinn.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. And I can tell you worked outside because you have a nice outside voice, and I really appreciate that.
I don't need the
I can
mic.
hear
Yeah.
you for an old equipment operator. It's really nice.
Yes.
I have a couple of questions on the hazardous tree grant as well. Does that so I know a friend that has an out-of-control giant cottonwood in their front yard.
Sure.
That I'm afraid someday might mash the house and some baby Rottweiler puppies, just so you know. So she could apply. So how much is it? Just like we'll give you a couple thousand and you're on your own for the rest?
Oh, great question. I'm sorry, I should have added that. Yeah, so for removals, the city will pay 50% of the cost, up to $1,500. For pruning, that number is $1,000, so 50% or $1,000. And then for treatments, I believe it's up to $500 or $250. So I think on average, most people that have applied and have been awarded have not hit that cap unless it is a large cottonwood, a large maple, or a large spruce being removed.
Excellent. And I have a friend, there's a giant dead, wonderful elm tree because anyways. And again, I think a big windstorm or something.
Yeah.
So he could apply for
Certainly.
some-
If
okay,
they're in the
cool.
city of Wheat Ridge, anyone can apply, yes. And then again, that's on the Rooted and Fun website under the forestry
Okay.
tab, and they can navigate that quite easily. The email comes directly to me. We schedule an appointment. I go out there physically and inspect the tree. I give them my thoughts. I say, hey, you more than likely qualify for this.
Okay.
And it's a very simple process after that. They have to get the work done by an approved contractor. They send us a copy of the invoice, W-9 for tax purposes. The city reimburses them 2 to 3 weeks later.
Excellent, great. One last thing, how do you work with Excel on clearing of the right of way? Because I might work for them.
I know you do, sir. We do not touch the easement in Excel at all. So homeowners, I get phone calls all the time. My tree's running against that. I encourage them to call in Excel. If you have a better or direct line I could give them, I'd love to do that because I have people that call me all summer long and say they still haven't come out. And I don't like to encourage people to tell white lies that it's arcing into their tree and it's kind of, you know what I mean? But that seems to expedite the process. The city staff, we do not work in that easement whatsoever.
Cool. I'll work on getting that because that's one of my little pet peeves is our vegetation management. Just a little more communication would be really,
that would
really
be
cool.
awesome.
So I'll try and get a number and get it back to you all. I
Thank you,
appreciate
sir.
it. And thank you very much again for the presentation and outside voice.
Thank you. Counselor Okada.
Thank you, Mayor. I took general horticulture at CSU, and I got a chance to get just a tiny little slice into your world, just enough to know that it's harder work than it looks, and it's really important work. So I want to say thank you for that. I have a comment and a question on the tree plotter map. Starting with the comment. On the Rooted in Fun website, the formatting, maybe just for me, but the formatting made it very difficult for me to take a look through that. I was able to grab a piece of that link and be able to put it somewhere else and get the full thing from the Tree Plotter website itself. And it's a beautiful little tool. I probably spent more time than I should exploring through.
I love to hear that.
It was really cool seeing the fruits of the work that's being done there too, and exactly where pieces are. My question about the Tree Plotter, that map, I believe it was. It's specific. I don't want to make this assumption, so I want to clarify. It's specifically every dot on there is a city-maintained tree.
That's correct.
Any tree that's not city-maintained doesn't show up as a dot.
That's correct.
And all city-maintained trees are a dot.
That is correct, sir. Yep, except again, not open spaces, because again, we have 300 acres of open space. It's just not practical for us to inventory that forest. And again, when there's not folks that are going to be impacted by a tree out in the middle of a field somewhere, there's really no need to manage it. We let it do what it does in a natural forest setting. So
Perfect. That's super clear.
Yep.
Thank you very much.
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you. Counselor Snell.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll be brief. Counselor Quinn teed this up perfectly. So I've heard from a few residents that have gotten a really great not trim job from Excel because obviously their tree was impeding and could cause a danger with the power lines. So this is a little bit out of your presentation, but what advice would you lend to someone, a homeowner who would like to avoid having one of those hack jobs from Excel?
The first thing is, if you're planting a new tree, is the right tree in the right place. You don't want to plant a tree that's going to have a mature height of 80 feet under any power lines, because you're going to see what we're seeing now, the hack job. And that's not Excel. They contract that work out, I might say.
True.
But that's a notorious thing all over I've lived all over this country, and that's a notorious thing, East Coast to West Coast. They have a lot of lines that they have to maintain. It's often a contractor, so they come in there, they hack job it, they get it away, they get it safe, they get it clear, and they leave the brush a lot of the times. That can be fixed. A good arborist is going to know how to fix that. There's the proper way to prune a tree. There's the wrong way to prune a tree. And structural pruning is an art, frankly. And it's not just Excel. It's folks that maybe, biased, don't have a business being in the business. But they are, just calling a reputable arborist company and seeing if they can come out and amend that tree. Letting it grow back a little bit and then targeting certain branches is a better way to do it as well. And again, but the number one thing is plant the right tree in the right place. Do not plant a large growing tree under that, and that issue will never happen.
Got it. That's really helpful.
Yep.
Thank you.
You bet.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Holton.
Thank you. Some of my questions were already asked. First of all, I did the tree program last year and got some great advice. But through the program was able to actually trim some pretty dangerous limbs overhanging the right-of-way that I had a lot of fear that they would fall on a pedestrian or a car. So I have peace of mind and really appreciated the program. A couple of things I just want to confirm. So with the program, you're mentioning treatment. Is it treating existing disease or does it include preventative treatment?
No, preventative would definitely qualify as well.
Okay.
We're just trying to keep the urban canopy helpful, and I think preventative maintenance is almost better than reactive maintenance.
That is good. I think it maybe would be helpful in the communications to mention that it's treatment for both existing and preventative. I had a neighbor who was not sure about that, who's got
Certainly.
a beautiful ash tree that I love almost like my child.
Yeah.
And so I'm invested in this ash tree deeply. So,
Certainly.
Okay, cool. I feel like we all have our personal tree issues.
Oh,
up
yeah.
here. It's like tree therapy.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. We love our trees. I want to mention in the years that I've been involved in Wheat Ridge and really engaged with like the culture of the city, a lot of times when we're doing policy, I would say like the trees are consistently across, no matter how long you've lived here or like where you land in the city, like the passion and commitment to the trees is like a unifying piece of our culture. So I just really appreciate your personal passion and skills, and that it's something that our Parks and Rec department is like really prioritizing, and I hope this council will continue to do that. On that end, my colleague, Councilmember Ohm, brought up the trees of heaven, which are the most ironically named trees.
Yeah.
I do want to mention, I know you have a passion for keeping healthy trees no matter how weedy they are. When I've walked the district, I've had a couple of people who really feel like they're battling the suckers from their neighbor's tree in their yard, which creates like a huge burden, especially on like rental properties that may not be in the business of like pruning trees. So I just want to bring that forward. This is not a tree, but encounters some of the same issues. When Councilmember Ohm and I were walking the district, we have a resident who's really concerned about the pampas grass in the right of way, creating like a nuisance that is like impacting their yard and like their landscaping. Is that something that I know it's not a tree, but it kind of falls a little bit in the same sort of like pest right of way maintenance stuff?
That would be the horticulture department, definitely,
Okay.
which is under me as well. So I believe I'm not as well versed on grasses and perennial plants as well by any means, but as long as it's out of the site triangle, that's what our concern is. I know they get very large and they can impact vision and sight as well. And I do know that they seed prolifically and they do spread. The best I can do is offer to my team that is no longer planted. I really, really don't think that they're planting them much anymore. And if they are to the maturity level where they're impacting that neighbor's yard, they were probably planted quite a long time ago. But we can certainly take note, and I can urge to removal of those and replace them, which along 38th Avenue, we are going to a more water-wise gardening planting option there.
Okay.
So the removal of more mature shrubs and grasses and not trees, but plants are being removed with more water-wise friendly things. So.
Okay, yeah, the ones in question are at Town Center.
Town Center?
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. And then I just want to make mention of all the baby fruit trees at Happiness Gardens. Since Happiness Gardens has come up tonight, it's really exciting to see them. I mean, they're little baby trees, but it's really fun to see that investment in our garden. I know that like some of our funding access for some of these tree investments is a little bit more threadbare than when we had the big grant that got frozen. But as we walk around the city and we see the little baby trees in our parks, send them some good vibes because we want them to grow to be really big. And I just want to mention, like, it was really cool to see the data around how we maintain our canopy. Like, I'd never seen that, like, you know, young to old tree and like how that is looked at holistically across an ecosystem. I have a botany degree. That is not useful for tree canopy stuff. So it was really good to know that like there's a data and a science behind it.
Awesome.
And just really appreciate that we're doing well, and may we continue for generations to be Tree City USA.
Cheers to that. And yeah, just the important thing with urban trees especially is diversity is key. With those major pests like emerald ash borer, I believe ash is sitting at right around 12 to 15% of our urban canopy. The entire Front Range is right around that number. If it were to wipe all that out, that's a lot of trees gone. I'm from the East Coast originally, and it already happened there. It's devastating to see. So that's why we really do promote and encourage diversity when planting. The trees I pick for the tree sale, 20 different species. Any education I do, that's probably the number one topic I talk about. So thanks for bringing that up.
Thank you. Any other questions? Councilor Wood.
Actually, I really don't have any question. I just wanted to say thank you for what you do. I have large trees in my yard. I know the cost that's involved in taking care of them, We had one that required a big crane to lift it out because it was 60% dead. And to know that you provide assistance, although that's an expensive thing to do, but any help is appreciated. And that will keep the trees that we have healthy and will help the appearance, even in terms of the ones that we have to remove. So I just thank you for the work you do. I don't know that other communities offer the assistance that you do, that we do here. So thank you.
Thank you. And I thank you all for your continued support for not only my team, but the Parks Department as well. You guys have always been behind us 100%, and we really do appreciate that.
Thank you. Councilor Okada.
Thank you. One quick question occurred to me as we were talking about the emerald ash borer. The Siberian elm, the one that we do have a lot of over 10% of in species, is it particularly vulnerable to any pests that might cause a problem?
Yeah, Japanese beetle, elm leaf beetle, more aesthetics than structural damage at all, whereas EAB will destroy the cambium of the tree and kill it within a couple of years. It's more aesthetically and unpleasing insects, but there's other things you could treat that with as well.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Fantastic. Mr. Goff, do you have anything else?
No, that's it. Just want to thank staff for coming, and we weren't looking for any direction this evening, just informational.
Fantastic. Great presentation. Thank you very much. Thank you. Seeing nothing else tonight, we will be back. Again, we have next month. Oh, Councilor Quinn.
I would be really a horrible counselor if I didn't mention that Councilor Wood and I are having our district meeting April 10 at Esther's.
April 10th. Okay.
Yes.
That's
so,
Friday, right?
No, it's a Saturday. So it's the day after your. Should be.
Double check that because the 11th is a Saturday. That's the day we have our.
Well, we were going to do it the 4th, but I think it got moved. We might.
You guys may want to double check
because
that.
I saw it on the Facebook page and I went, oh, okay, April 10th.
April 10th is a Friday, so you guys may want to look.
So it's not going to be the 10th.
Yeah, and the 11th is our retreat. So it's
So
not gonna be the 11th either.
yeah, more to come. There might be some bad information that I have.
Okay. All right. Come back
Or
to that.
Gabe.
Come back to us on that. All right. So, but we will be back here not next Monday because it's fifth Monday. So we'll be back April 6th for our next meeting. We will stand adjourned. Thank you.